What do you get when you combine fierce leadership, decades of fitness experience, and the heart of a devoted father? You get Robert Sherman, an international fitness presenter, master educator, and one of the most respected voices in our industry. Welcome to Group X Appeal, where today we continue our Dads Who Empower series with a man who's not only shaped bodies, but shaped lives.
Most definitely. Robert's legacy in the fitness world spans over 30 years. From training top-tier instructors to presenting on global stages, his impact runs deep. But beyond certifications, accolades, and accomplishments, Robert's most powerful title is Dad. In this episode, we dig into the mindset of a father who leads with wisdom, humility, and intention. We know this because we know this amazing human being. And you're going to hear how Robert's commitment to family, fitness, and personal growth has fueled a life of purpose, and how he empowers others to rise, both in and out of the studio. This one's packed with gold. So let's welcome legendary Robert Sherman to Group X Appeal. Hey there, welcome to Group X Appeal. I'm Kimberly Spreen-Glick.
And I'm Terry Shorter. We're excited to bring you this hot and sweaty podcast.
With over 25 years of experience each in the health and fitness industry, we're here to share hilarious, heartwarming stories from our lives and careers.
And offer practical nutrition tips, expert exercise advice, and strategies for holistic well-being and a positive mindset.
Group X Appeal is your go-to source for inspiration, motivation, and a few laughs along the way.
So tune in and let us help you be the healthiest, happiest version of you. Welcome to Group X Appeal. Terry Shorter here with...
And Kimberly Spreen-Glick.
What's up?
What's up? What's up?
You heard the intro, and we are so excited about this guest. You heard his accolades. You've heard, just a little bit of the details, but we're going to be digging a lot deeper into Robert Sherman. Hi, Robert. How are you?
Hey, guys. Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Yay. No, thank you for joining us. We're on the West Coast here in Southern California. He's on the Beast Coast. We're on the Best Coast. He's on the Beast Coast.
Wait a minute. I'm from Maryland, where he's at right now. Let's go.
So how's Maryland treating you, Robert?
Maryland's great. It's home, and it'll always be home.
Nice.
Fantastic. And you still call Maryland home too, still, don't you? You're home away from
No,
home.
I'm sorry.
Not
Callie's
anymore.
home now. I'm sorry, Robert. I'll still come visit, though.
Please.
Well, we're so excited to have you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. And, this is a very conversational piece during this month of Dads Who Empower. And we simply have 5 pretty straightforward questions that we know you're going to absolutely nail. So
No pressure.
no pressure whatsoever.
We know you're going to nail
You're
it.
going to hit
Robert.
this 100%, knock our socks off, knock our listeners' socks off as well.
Zero pressure.
Zero. Easy peasy.
So kind of give the listener, we gave just an overview, but what have been some of the highlights, first of all, in your fitness career, Robert? How'd you find fitness? What was the,
We're going to need to give him a time limit here.
Yeah. But how did you find fitness?
It would take me an hour to list what I know to be Robert's accomplishments.
I can be wordy at times.
No. I would take at least an hour, trust me.
So to condense it very simply is that I have always been involved in movement in life and sports and athletics. And through athletics, I actually found being injured. And through the injury, I became enamored with how to get my body back where it was before.
Sure.
But it led me down an entirely different path. And it led me down the path of actually exercise. So in the early 80s, there really wasn't a big movement of exercise. It was this big. But I just happened to want to date the girl who taught aerobics on campus in the cafeteria. And she wanted nothing to do with me. So what does the guy do? He keeps trying. So I went to that class, my right arm hanging from baseball, my left arm in a sling from taking a terrible fall skiing. And yet there I was in this room with 30 women. I have no idea what I'm doing. And who jumps for an hour? Who does it?
Right.
Well, they did.
And leg warmers.
And thongs as well.
And I'm wearing whatever shorts, and I'm way overdressed or underdressed, as they say. And it humbled me to the point of I can't believe, I thought I trained for sport. I'm a
Sure.
college baseball player. I thought I knew what fitness was. No idea.
Mm.
And so I learned a quick lesson about what specificity is. I learned a quick lesson about what endurance is. And I learned a quick lesson that don't bite off more than you can chew, but I kept at it. And one day she got sick. One day she asked me to teach her class, and that was the beginning.
There you go. Thrown to the wolves like many of
From
us.
the wall.
I love it.
And
And so-
the passion and pursuit followed suit. I started in beginning to study and get excited about learning what this was and why this was and how this existed. And that path led me down to more teaching and more opportunities. And when I found in, being in a place where aerobics competitions were at the beginning, I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And I was wearing that you guys see as a meme come across your feeds from time to time in those blue leotards. Well, guess what? I was in. But the point of it, not that meme stayed in the aerobics competition in the 80s. What stayed was the fact that those people I met during that competition were the greatest people I had ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if I said the rest of the fitness industry is like these people, this is a place I need to stay.
Yep.
I made a career of health and exercise and fitness as the result of that, and been saying yes a lot. Early days on, and you never know where it's going to take you, and it took me good places. And
Yeah.
it took me all over the world, and it took me in people's homes, and it took me to wonderful, wonderful places where we do what we do because it not only makes us feel good, it makes others feel good. And when someone feels good, the rules change.
Yeah.
Because
It's
now
a different place to live from, isn't it?
it's a different place to look at, it's a different place to live, and it's a different place to actually connect with one another. And this community does anything well. It teaches the level of caring, compassion, positivity, and support. And that's how
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So he was able to share that without what I was saying would take over an hour is just you listing the roles and the accomplishments that you've had over the decades that you've been doing this. And it's through that. I mean, Robert has been all over the world educating both enthusiasts and instructors alike. We've been side by side at conferences. We've worked together. It's been such an honor because you, more than anyone else I've ever met in the industry, have taken the human connection to the next level. So it wasn't just about educating, it was about connecting. And then through that connection, you can upskill, you can uplevel, you can educate, you can bring people to a better place, but it's mostly about uplifting through that connection. And I just applaud that a million times over. I've always admired that about you and so appreciate it. So thank you for being in this industry we love so much and making such a great impact on it.
Yeah. Somebody that we all can look up to and
Yeah.
learn a lot from.
Yeah.
So, and that through that experience when you first started in fitness, at what point, how many years was it before you became a father?
Well, let's see. If I had to do the math, we had, I would say it was 10 years post.
Okay.
So from starting, when I first started teaching, I was a mere 21 years old.
Okay.
And I'm not going to talk about where I am now. So
31.
Your math was a little off, and you were being you were being nice. You were making me a lot younger than I am, but thank you. But so 10 years into my fitness career, I became a father, and
Nice.
and it was, and still to this day, he was in my apartment just yesterday, and we, our kids are very close, and we are very close with them, and they're 3 years and a day apart, both of them.
Okay.
So
Wow.
Awesome.
they're tight, and we have a special bond, and
That's
a
great.
family unit, and very, very fortunate.
That's
But yeah,
good.
so I already had a little time under my belt,
There you go.
Dad, putting it that way.
There you go.
And being part of a world where your creativity is your life stream, and your ability to, on the fly, whoever walks in that door, you're able to meet them where they're at and be able to understand what their needs are. So your creative mind is always at work.
Yeah. Yeah. Overtime.
Particular in everything I did in life was creative and also kind of out there. So I always have 1,000 ideas every hour, but I get none of them done.
Sounds about right.
That does.
Sounds like us.
So being a father shifted and had to shift my approach because children need time,
Yeah.
children need attention, as does your partner. And when your partner needs your support and your children need your support, this is what we do. So my world had to go from being creative and loose to being structured. That structure didn't limit me like I thought it was going to. It actually made me better.
Sure.
So when you have a creative mindset and everything you do is sort of soft boundaries, when you put boundaries on them, everything you do at that point actually becomes more definable. And when you start to define it, you get stuff done. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
There's a concept. So I love that. So the structure is really getting the structure as the head of the household, as dad, really influence your approach into your personal fitness
And the
your
work.
the work that you did.
Absolutely the work that I did. And
That makes sense.
everything got better as a result.
That is awesome.
Because I had to streamline what I wanted to do. I had to streamline how I did what I did.
Yeah, you had to be more efficient.
And be more efficient and get better at those things.
Sure.
Which overall, in terms of a business and running a business, made it actually so much easier and so much better that it opened time for me. Before I thought having the freedom to do and go as I please is the time that all of us want. It was the opposite.
Sure.
Yeah.
The fact that I created structure gave me the time that was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, with structure comes focus, right?
Mindfulness.
So that was a big moment, and it took time to figure that out. I resisted it for a while.
Of course.
The artist in you.
Human.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you go to this creative way and you allow yourself that time to be creative, and when you don't, and you have now barriers on that time, you have to be more intelligent, more efficient, more connected, more structured, thereby actually making the end product, in my opinion, you get there faster.
Sure.
And
Sure.
it allows you also that if that, whatever process that created for me changed over time, the best thing that I was who I was at that time.
Right, in that season.
And then as time went by and my children got older and their needs shifted and I shifted, I also became more interested in other things. So now where it was really just about what I was caring about, it shifted to now what they were caring about.
Right.
And what they were caring about was they loved all the outdoor hikes that we were doing, and they loved camp that was outdoor camping. It wasn't inside playing ball. And that passion gave a career to my son. He's been a whitewater kayak Olympic paddler for the last 10 years.
So
and
cool.
Be that outdoor environment. Now, it was all him, trust me. I'm not that good in a boat. But
Sure, but I'm sure just by seeing your work ethic, seeing your focus, seeing your intention behind everything that you did, that inspired him for sure.
yeah, and my daughter went the other competitive way. She played rugby for University of Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, wow.
So
goodness.
Awesome.
she,
So don't mess with her, in other words.
No.
Yeah.
She'll teach you how to actually properly tackle. Put it
Yeah,
that way.
I believe it. I believe it.
Not leading with your helmet. So my kids were also, they enjoyed being around the gym and the facilities. So when I have my own studio, they love being part of it. They love working. When someone walks in and they see a 6-year-old, wonderful girl with a big smile on her face at the front desk, they're like, oh, well, that's different. Who didn't have a smile on their face?
Right.
And all of that, because it was me and my mom and my kids and my wife, and all of that was very connected, and people loved that community and they loved what it was all about. So in my first studio that I opened and had for 15 years, my kids were part of it.
That's awesome.
In that fitness environment, and they saw the challenges, but they also saw how when everyone came in, how different they were, not only being there and allowing that to be part of lives, but also how they changed on the way out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that, I think, helped to mold them. And,
No doubt.
And there was challenges along the way with that, because I want to say that, but a lot of times when you're around all this positivity, you almost sometimes feel, and I got this from my kids as they grew older and they were able to communicate it better, that life isn't always so easy.
Right.
And one of the things that I always, tried to be is communicative, but when you're very positive all the time and all they see is positivity, they don't want to actually take that away from me. And that's the last thing they should have had to ever worry about.
Good
So I
point.
could change one thing in all of this time and go back in time. I mean, I don't know if I could do it different, but I would definitely try. That I would let them know that it's okay not to be successful at something or to fail at something.
Yeah.
It's actually okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that you need to talk to somebody is the most important thing, and holding it in is the hardest thing. For their own health. Being challenged by life isn't about showing weakness. And when things are hard for you, that is not a sign of weakness.
Right.
And communicating that is a sign of strength. So if I was doing one thing, if I could go back, I would start to think about letting them in on that little secret much earlier than I did.
Yeah. Making it not a secret.
Absolutely.
So you've already started to kind of answer the next question that I have for you, and that is about finding quality time for your family. So you talked about the structure, like streamlining, finding structure, and then incorporating them in, the day-to-day of the studio, so there's more connection there.
Going on hikes.
Yeah, going on the hikes. Are there any other strategies that you found effective for just making sure that you have that quality time you need with your family while also managing the business, the career?
Absolutely. Two things come to mind. First thing is time off is time off.
Yes.
Okay, huge important that when you're there, you're there. You're not there halfway, you're there all the way. And one of the ways that I was able to be part of their lives was volunteering as a coach. So they both played baseball, they both played softball. Soccer I didn't know all that much about, but I still was there, using whatever coordination drills, right,
Sure.
Terry?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to drop the ball. You're going to clap your hands above your head. Then you're going to catch the ball. You have all these strategies that you go in. So I came in from my fitness end, but allowed my sports background to actually help, and all the great coaches that I've had in my life
Sure.
who gave me so many tools, not knowing it at the time, that I regurgitate what they were saying, not even thinking that I was going to remember all those hard lessons that my coaches taught me over the years. Like, writing numbers on a baseball, and then during batting practice, having them yell the number before they actually swung at the ball.
Oh, wow.
That coordination. I mean, and then if I can impart that, so I put myself in their world. So the way that came across was that if I want them to be part of mine, I have to be part of theirs. So it's not just them making time for me, or me, quote unquote, making time for them. It was that mutual shared experience of what they were doing in their lives, and me not running it, not being in charge of it, but being there,
Yeah, being a part of it.
I love that.
being a part of it.
Yeah.
So you have the streamlining, the structure,
Presence.
the connection, the when you're off, right?
Absolutely.
When you're off the clock, when you're on vacation, that's where you are, and then just the mutual shared experiences.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And when you love what you do, it's hard to be off.
It is.
So
Really,
I have found that to be the case.
you really, have this hard time. Like, you think that I'm not even working. How is this even called work?
Right,
Right,
exactly.
yeah. But
Or
you-
you're on vacation and a song comes on the radio, and you're like, oh man, that would be really good for a climb in the cycle.
Well, having said that, both of my children have a love of music. It's really funny you said that. So who do you think my go-to for music is? So
I
they
love
were
it.
Part of my world,
Yeah.
Yeah.
their love of music, because they were listening to things that I didn't even know existed.
Totally.
Yet then sounded like a cool dad when I actually started using it in my classes.
in your classes.
So I made them indirectly part of my world, to your
That's
point,
cool.
Kimberly, through
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
And that music created a bond as well. And
That's
it helped me
awesome.
learn what they love. I mean, my son and I would go to the concerts. He would be on stage. I would be the oldest one in the room.
Yep.
The youngest.
I just experienced that for the first time. I know what you mean.
And yeah, Jordan, you can go stage dive. I'm actually going to go over here, but I'm here. And
I'll watch you.
And our love of music brought us to concerts together, and
Aw.
and it really was that was really a special time.
I
That's
love
cool.
that. Yeah, Tyler absolutely helps DJ my
Yeah.
cycle classes.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that, because it is a win-win, because
It
then
is.
they feel involved,
Oh,
But
yeah.
then you also honestly get some kudos for bringing some fresh new hits into the studio that
Like
you
the cool
otherwise
mom.
never would have heard of.
Yeah, the cool mom.
Entirely. It goes from who's that to, guys, I'm going to share something with you today. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's massive, and I think that being part of and understanding what their interests are and going that extra mile. And again, you never know till you try. And my kids could have been the opposite of athletic, but they weren't. And what they love and what they do and what they like is about being involved in nature and being involved in movement and in their own ways. And that's never, from what I see, ever going to change. And it's
awesome.
really great to see that empowered.
Very cool. And so, along those same lines, Robert, how would you guide other dads? What kind of advice would you give them to help them encourage their kids to have a healthy relationship with health and wellness without having to push them into it or force them into it?
I mean, I think it starts with play. I think
Good answer.
we're not making fitness a regimented thing.
Yeah.
Making movement just fun.
Yeah.
And when you play and have fun and it's all surrounded by movement, and whether it's just playing catch or whether it's actually, I know that, going on a walk or going on a run or them, how do you run, getting interested in cycling, getting interested in all these things, and you make it playful. And when it's not competitive, there's always time and place, and if they show a sign of wanting to be more involved in that and wanting to learn how to get better, well, that's great. But to me, it always starts with play. And if you play, and then from play, I think it turns into more gamification. When you now let's do this for this, and let's see how many we can get done in this period of time. And then now it becomes a game.
Yep.
There's no winner, there's no loser, at some point, and then it can become that. Now
Sure.
it can become competitive.
Sure.
Let's see if you can stack them as quickly as I can stack them. Or more importantly, let's start to throw the ball, and whoever can throw it further, does whatever. And again, all the outcomes are positive, and in the end, you just spent time with your children.
Yeah,
Yep.
quality time.
Exactly.
And you did it in a healthy environment, in a way of encouraging something that you care about, they're showing an interest in, and, it's not a secret. Your kids just want to be with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a secret.
That's a great approach because I've seen, especially right now, it doesn't seem like it's the same way when we grew up playing sports. Nowadays, these kids, 5 years old, 6-year-old kids, they're out there getting yelled at. They're out there, kind of get like they have a drill sergeant rather than someone who's encouraging them to have a good time and just enjoy themselves. Learn to love the game first, and then gamification is the next stage. But at 5 or 6 years, I've seen games where these parents and the coaches sound like drill sergeants,
so
and it's
sad.
really sad and scary. And the kids will get, before they even get burnt out, they'll just be disinterested because it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't fun.
Right.
Exactly. And that, by the way, is the underlying thing at any age. You hear about these great athletes over the course of time. Pete Sampras is one in the tennis world who was known. He retired at such a young age in his 30s. He just couldn't do it anymore. It wasn't fun anymore.
Not enjoyable.
Training to compete at the level he was at was way harder and was way more difficult, and it no longer became something he really enjoyed.
Sure. Yeah.
And rather than waiting for an injury to happen, like some athletes just stick with it because it's all they know.
Right.
So the story shouldn't be, I stopped because I got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that happens so often. And he just knew when he wasn't involved in enjoying, and you can call him selfish, but it's his world, it's his life. And I think that for our children, seeing that as an example is powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
And knowing also the ones who, you see many of them stay in it too long. And because the skills, whatever it is, or their responsibility is now heavier than them enjoying the actual sport or the time. And
Absolutely.
when responsibility becomes so great that it's no longer fun, then it's amazing what the body and the brain start to do. Sabotage.
Fast
Yep.
and quickly.
Quickly. That
Fast and quickly?
Both.
Both?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just checking.
there you go.
That was awesome.
Terry, absolutely. Fast and quick. So having said that, again, all of those spirit and all that progression, and if it becomes sort of this competitive thing, and what's not competitive is my time with them.
Mm-hmm.
So if they find this love of competition and this enjoyment and this drive because of it, that says a lot about who they are.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I'm forcing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not here to really give advice to anybody. I'm just telling you what I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you that when it wasn't forced and you let them make their decision, things go a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And this of my son and you know, whatever he does and however far he wishes to take, you know, his career in sport, it's his decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I'm here to support it.
Yep.
Definitely. I think sometimes we forget that, like, kids are people too. You know what I mean? Like, I think that some parents look at such young children, like the 5 and 6-year-old you're talking about, and they think, well, it's up to me as the parent to make the decisions, to mold them, without realizing that even a 5-year-old has an opinion. Even a 5-year-old, like, knows what they like, what they don't like, you know. I think to assume they can't think for themselves until a certain age, I think is a big mistake. So I love that you took that approach.
Thank you. I mean,
And obviously work with an Olympic level, you know,
Yeah.
athlete, a collegiate level, another collegiate level athlete as well. So
Yeah.
we're going to take that advice.
All right, so another
Thank
question
you.
for you, Robert.
yeah.
How would you say you've used your experience as a parent to be able to better connect with and serve your clients, your community, who are also, you know, parents balancing their fitness with their family responsibilities?
Great question. You know, one of the things that the balance comes from being fortunate, as you two well know this, we know how exercise makes us feel.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're able to move better, I feel better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel better. That whole nervous system side to balancing out all this energetic pull with a calming, quieting, stress relieving exercise session, whether it's breathing, whether it's yoga, whether it's even strength training can be stress relieving, okay, to a certain point. And all of that matters. So what I take from being a parent is that since I've always had the advantage of exercise as part of my life every day, I've always felt like a pretty balanced guy.
Yeah.
And I share that balance with the clients that I train on a regular basis, the people I choose to spend time with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and if I can be a calming force to any of them to help with their stress reduction, with the choices we make in terms of exercise as clients, but also the people I spend time with in terms of community, then I feel like for me, you know, my I'm going to use a strange word, but existence is that I love to bring joy to a room, you know, and bring a level of positive smiles. And I walked out of a gym the other day. She says, "You look happy." I'm like, "Why doesn't everyone look happy?"
I know, it's,
Might be the outlier.
Yeah, what am I missing?
yeah.
She goes, "You
It's
must
a
have had a great
choice.
class." I said, "Yes, and it was mine."
I love that you said calming force.
I was just going to say the exact same
because
thing.
one of the things that I've always loved about you, and as many trainings as I've, you know, been able to get feedback from attendees on and things like that, that's a continuous common thread in all of the opportunities that I've been aware of where you've gifted your talent of teaching and such, is that you have this calming energy.
Yeah.
And even, I mean, even when you are kicking people's arses,
In a nice way.
and yeah, it's like they still feel good about it.
He's such a nice guy
So,
kicking my
yeah, it
butt.
just felt so lovely. But it's really cool. It's impressive because there are so many out there with the, like, you know, go, you know, like the drill sergeant energy.
Absolutely.
And it's not that doesn't work, because for some that does work.
Yeah, some people like it.
But the fact that you've been able to bring this different kind of, as you said, calming force into what you do, it does balance out that nervous system in a way that makes things feel more accessible. And I love that.
Thank you.
cool.
Yeah, and that's you know, for me, I believe in it, and it's something that always it just happened.
Yeah.
Because I was going way back into the story when I said that I was a fish out of water. You know, I was in this place with everyone knowing what to do, but I didn't. There was something still about it, and all that worry that I wasn't going to get back on the baseball field, that had to overcome my injury, but yet I found this fitness piece. So even though it was ridiculously and I was not able to keep up, but at the same time, there was something about even just doing what I could do that made me feel better.
Yeah.
And I liked who I was.
Oh, that's solid.
That's deep.
Yep. And last question for you, Robert. You kind of shared this earlier within the first question. If you could give your younger self one piece or maybe an additional piece of advice when it comes to thriving as both a dad and a fitness pro, what would it be?
Well, you can't get time back, and the cliche as it is, I definitely, in their younger years, I was offered opportunities. And because it was so exciting and so passionate, there was times that I could have always been a more supportive spouse and partner. And then the world takes you away and pulls parts of you in the process.
Yeah.
Being able to keep those parts for those you love and those you care about. Something that you did, but you can always do more.
I think I that resonates.
Big time. Big
Yeah,
time.
for sure.
Wow.
So any additional tidbits that you'd like to share with our audience? And outside of that, is there anything that you could share that you'd like the world to know? And like, how can people follow you and kind of
connect with you?
Yeah.
Well, you can find me at robertshermanfitness.com. That's easy. And
you do still have a library of workouts available, right?
I do still have a library of workouts available. Thanks for mentioning that. And if you're ever in Maryland, come on by. I hope to see everybody at a conference near them.
Awesome.
At some point, and still speaking and teaching and traveling, that part of my life I still really cherish and enjoy as well. And for us in this business, and I want to thank you both for doing what you do and being able to have a podcast directed towards the audience that we have. We all need connections, and we certainly want to know we're not the only ones.
For sure.
It really helps us when we can feel we're part of something bigger than ourselves. And I applaud both of you for doing this.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that is fantastic. And this is exactly what empowered fatherhood is all about. Just right here, Robert Sherman just literally gave us a masterclass, not just in fitness, but in life and leadership and legacy. 21 years old is when he started teaching. That is like...
And quickly learn that strength isn't just about what you lift, it's about who you lift up.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And so, from shaping the future of fitness to being fully present for his family, Robert, you embody what it means to lead with purpose. And, we so appreciate you and thank you so much for sharing your time, your treasure, your talent, your heart with us, and just your unwavering commitment to help others live stronger and just more intentional lives. So
Most
appreciate
definitely.
you.
Thank you.
I second all of that
And
for
then
sure. And gosh, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on one of the podcast platforms, if this episode resonated with you, pay it forward. Share it with a dad who's out there making a difference that could use some inspiration, or someone that just needs a reminder that their presence matters, because that's what the Dads Who Empower series is all about. So we've got some more incredible stories coming, but this one definitely, this takes the cake for me. I'm just so thrilled you were able to jump in and share a bit with us, Robert. I know how busy you are. He kind of snuck us in between a crazy busy schedule and leaving the country again. So thank you for jumping on, leading with not only that calming force, but also with your heart, leading with love. As you know, that's always resonated with me in a big way. So appreciate you so much.
Yep. So robertshermanfitness.com, follow him. And then also, Robert, just lastly, what social media platforms can people find you on?
Instagram at ShermFit.
ShermFit?
And Robert Sherman on Facebook.
There we go.
So you'll be able to find those links in the show notes as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So again, thank you so much, Robert, for joining us today. Thank you so much for listening in and meeting Robert Sherman with on this episode number 41.
41.
And to wrap it up, I'm Terry Shorter.
I'm Kimberly Spreen-Glick.
And as always, we wish you a fantastic day today. How about that?
Oh, wait a minute
No,
now.
make
You're
it
trying to throw me off.
Make it a fantastic day.
Okay.
Why?
Because it's a fantastic day to have.
Yeah, it is. Take care.
Much love.